My sister was in a secret relationship for 10 years.
Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of Yip to My Yap. I'm still Erica Star, and today I'm here with
Nisha.
And today we are talking about how strict parents create sneaky ass kids and even more anxious adults. So, as two people who grew up in, somewhat strict households, I think we are more than, what's the word? What's the word?
We're credible people.
Yes, we're more than credible to talk about this. So I think the first thing we should both mention is our age and our cultural backgrounds. So you can go first.
Yes. I am 24, about to go on 25. And I come from a South Asian household, specifically Bengali. I have immigrant parents. Technically, everyone in my family are immigrants. And then I also grew up in an Islamic household. So it's very twofold there with being strict.
Me, I'm 25 from a Puerto Rican household where predominantly the grandmother was kind of in charge. I'll explain the backstory there. But yeah, we know old Hispanics are always stuck in their ways. Okay, so then first question, what did growing up in a strict household mean for you?
I feel like it still is the same because I still live with my parents. Mm-hmm. So like, it was funny because I was talking to one of my coworkers and I was kind of explaining my family dynamic because I always end up having to over-explain my family dynamic to anybody I meet because I'm like, well, yeah, like this is why I do what I do, but it's because of this. So I forget what we were talking about. And I was mentioning how I essentially live a double life. And she was like, so you're basically like Hannah Montana. And I'm like, literally. And that's what a lot of my life growing up was very like, I was leading a double life. I saw my sister, I have older siblings, and they were all living a double life themselves as well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for me specifically, I think it just was really hard because it really fucked with a lot of my childhood growing up because I feel like I was like almost like kind of slow in the growth progress or like personal growth compared to a lot of my friends. Like I was like a late bloomer in so many things because of my strict parents. So I feel like I was like just like really always struggling with living life as a, let's say like 11-year-old. But like my 11-year-old life was so much more different from every other 11-year-old's life.
What are some things that come to mind when...
Oh my God, sleepovers. I could never sleep over. I never was able to sleep over until I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And I would always remember the conversations are like, bitch, you can't fucking like just ask your mom to sleep over. I'm like, no. And I also need to give her like a month notice or something.
Yeah.
And like even in college, like even now, like it's crazy, but it's like, I'll like, if I'm like sleeping over at one of my friends, like I have to come up with like a full story. Cause then my mom's like, hey, what's the point of them? You sleeping over if your friend lives like 10 minutes away? And then
yeah, but it's like,
I'm like, yeah,
you just
like,
want to be girls.
Like just want to have like a little girl moment. So I feel like sleepovers was always the biggest thing. And then again, growing up in like a South Asian Islamic household, clothes was a big ass thing. It's funny because yesterday I wore like capri pants and they were like just past my knees, but like I'm like walking in the living room and I could see my mom like staring me down, like just looking at the like open space of my legs. And she's like, oh, so you're gonna wear like that really short pant? I'm like, Mom, it's literally not even short at all. And like, I just remember being like, bro, I'm 24 and like she's still on my ass about clothes and stuff. But I would literally like, and me and my sister would always do this. Like we would always have to find out where we can change our clothes before any hangout. So like if you ask me to hang out, I am like getting ready 5 hours ahead because I need to like, I need to map out my entire like, okay, how am I going to get out of my halal clothes into my like slutty clothes or something like that. Like going out to the club or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm always wearing like jeans or pants to the club because I'm like, I'm not going to carry like a bag with me. Or if I can like stop by at my friend's house, like I'll like leave the house.
You might have
and,
like mini wardrobes like everywhere.
I do. I literally have like a mini wardrobe. Like I have like a spend the night bag, but like not really spend the night. It's just like, it's literally my halal bag.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like it's also funny because like I would even change in like the staircase of my building sometimes if I like really was that desperate enough.
Yeah.
And I remember like the first time I ever had to do it, and I was just like, oh my God, like someone's
This
about
is
to
my
walk
life.
in with my ass out right now.
Oh
Yeah,
my
like
God.
this is literally my fucking life right now. I think especially in my adult life, drinking, like, yeah, I'm a Muslim girl who drinks. Ooh, a little controversial there.
Yeah.
But I do unfortunately come home drunk, and it's like I feel like I'm so good at masking my drunkenness
Really?
because of the fact that like I know I have to come home to Muslim parents. I mean, if I'm about to get like shit faced, which I like don't really I don't know.
Yeah.
Other people might beg to differ. But like if I'm coming home like, or if I'm gonna get shit faced, I again plan accordingly. Like, okay, I'm gonna sleep over at this person's house, or I'm gonna crash at this person. But if I know I'm gonna crash at this person's house, okay, I gotta let my mom know a weekend in advance, a couple days in advance. And then I gotta figure out, okay, like how much stuff am I gonna bring? Because I need to again bring my halal clothes. Like, can I drop off my bag at my friend's place first? Like, it's literally like literally strategically mapping out my entire life around my strict parents.
Yeah, I feel like when you have strict parents, your mindset's very different because there's always a second layer of thinking. Like, no, it's not just going out. It's, planning all that other stuff behind it. And oh my God, something that I was going to bring up. Oh yeah. So like when you grow up in a strict household, in that weird space between like from what I experienced from being an adult to moving out is so weird because you're still getting parented and they're still witnessing you be a young adult where things happen, like coming home drunk. And like, I remember, I think it was the first time I had ever really like went out. Like it was my friend's birthday and we did the whole like we're gonna be out and then we're gonna go to a diner at 5 in the morning and we're gonna eat drunk waffles. And, you know, like that was just the thing. I got home at 8 in the morning and I remember I opened the door so quietly. Cause the thing is, that was another thing. So at my grandma's house, they always called it a police lock. I don't know if that's what a police lock is. That was just the term we've always used. And you can't lock it from the outside, but you can only lock it from the inside. So if you weren't coming home by the time everyone went to sleep, then you would have to let everyone know, like, you can lock the police lock because I won't be back until you guys wake up.
Right.
And it's like, I hated having to announce that I anticipate having too much fun tonight.
Right, like,
you know?
like, just letting you guys know, I know tonight. Yeah. I literally did that like the other night where I was going out with one of my friends and I was like, I told my mom, I was like, yeah, like I'm going to go out. I might come home late. Or I might sleep over. Like now I have to do that because like I had a situation similar to that.
Yeah.
Where like I went out late with one of my friends and I came home and we have two different locks. And usually like I always tell my parents like, make sure you lock both of the doors. I don't know why. I just get like really like, I have this fear like someone breaking into my home. So I like tell them like, make sure you guys lock the door both of the locks before we go to bed. And my dad didn't know that I was still out one night. And I didn't have the second key. And so I think it's like 3, 4 a.m. And I'm like trying to open the door. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm like, I just got locked out of my own fucking apartment.
Yeah.
And so I'm like knocking on the door. I'm like also like trying to be quiet at the same time because I didn't want to wake up my dad. I literally had, thankfully, a cat where I had a cat camera on. So I'm literally talking to my parents through the cat camera, or my mom through the cat camera, like, open the door, like it's literally 3 a.m. right now. Somebody locked me out. And then my mom like opens the door and she was like, where were you? And I'm like, damn.
Oh my gosh.
Like I was trying to avoid all this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, like another thing too is like, I don't know how your parents are when you do come home drunk or if they've ever noticed, but for me, that same time that I was just talking about, because I came home late, I can hear my grandmother telling my aunt like, she's an alcoholic now. She's not gonna stop. This bitch doesn't stop fucking drinking. It was my first real night out.
No way.
And I was just like, bro, we doing this? Like, I'm hungover.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, ugh. And she's just loud Puerto Rican, you know? And I'm just like, please just shut up. Or there was another time, oh my gosh. This was like the last real instance of like me being an adult while still living at home. And it's where things get like weird, and I'll just tell the story. So there was this other night, I was out and I was talking to this guy at the time, and I was, how old was I was like 22. 22. And like that's an age, like I know that my mom knows how to be a 20 something year old. So
Right.
like she, like she's not thinking I'm out here being a freaking saint. So it was this weird situation. Okay, actually, let me backtrack. Let me give you guys a feel of my living situation. So pretty much I lived with my aunt, my grandma, and my aunt from the day I was born. And then my mom met my stepdad. She moved out when I was like 11, 12. And she asked me like, do you want to move with us? But moving boroughs is a lot. That feels like a huge move. And I was like, no, I don't want to live with you guys. But like me and my mom's relationship never changed. Like we were still very close because people like thinking that my grandmother raised me. And it's like, I feel like honestly, all three of them raised me.
Yeah.
And so it was weird because I would live with my grandma and my aunt from then on out, and my mom's rules still applied. So it's like everyone respected whatever it was that my mom said. So it's like if my grandma didn't agree with me being out till 1 a.m, but my mom said it was okay, then she's like, okay, it's whatever her mother says. So my aunt just always played a role as kind of like a big sister, and she doesn't want to get in trouble by her mother, even though she's a grown woman. And then she doesn't want to get into it with my mom, who's her sister, because she's like, well, that's my sister. Like it puts her in a weird spot with like what to tell her and what not to tell her. So there was this one night I was out and I was seeing this guy, and he wasn't going to be in town for long. And one thing led to another, and I was like, let's get a hotel. That's what, So then it's one of those things where you don't call your mom and say, hey, I'm going to tell my aunt and my grandma to lock the door because I'm going to be doing... My mother should not know in real time when I'm doing the do.
Right.
And so then I text my aunt. I make sure I was like, hey, I'm safe. I'm going to be staying somewhere. You can lock the door because I'm not going to be back till tomorrow afternoon. And she says, okay. And then the next morning, I get a bunch of calls and messages from my mom because she said she was talking to my aunt, and then my aunt was like, Erica's not home. And I'm like, but bro, like, it's not like I didn't say why I wasn't home. Like, I should not have to be like, hey, I'm getting clapped tonight.
Conversation.
And, And so then my mom's like, she's telling me like, why didn't you just tell me? And I'm like, dude, is that something you wanted to hear? I don't think that's something I wanted to say. And it puts you in this weird spot where it's like, I'm adult enough to do these things. Like, it's not illegal. It's not wrong. Like, it's literally just me being an early 20-something-year-old. But it's like, how much of that do I have to tell you? Because at that point, it's like, yes, I'm living under my grandmother's roof, but I'm giving you the heads up and I'm saying I won't be home at a certain time. So it's like, it's this weird thing. Like I always say, my dad was strict. My mom was fair. My grandma was crazy. Like that's how, those were the dynamics. And like, I had to have like different brains for each person. Like I had to maneuver each of them very differently because with my grandmother, it was so weird. It's like me and my aunt used to always say this, is like the kitchen closes after a certain time. So it's like after 9 o'clock, she didn't want anyone cooking anything because she didn't trust that we could clean the kitchen enough or up to her standards for her to go to bed happy. So
That's
like
mad funny.
if she, bro,
because that's how my mom is, but like with cooking. Like my mom hated when me and my sister were in the kitchen.
Yes.
And like we could tell she hated it because like me and my sister would try to cook something and my mom's like, you're cutting that wrong. And we're like, bro.
It's like, get out the kitchen.
Get out of the kitchen. Like, and so like we didn't learn how to cook until way later in life. But it's also because like my mom is a full-time housewife, full-time mom. And so the kitchen is like her safe haven. Like that's her sanctuary. So full respect there. But like, damn, girl.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to do everything.
Because now my friends are like, okay, so what are you bringing to the potluck? And I'm like, well, fuck.
I can't. No.
The drinks. Like,
yeah, like I always make tuna fish sandwiches. That's my thing. So like, what's it called? Like we had, the can opener and it makes noise. So that like me and my aunt would be in the kitchen and it'd be like 11 o'clock at night. And if she hears it, she'll wake up. And then we'll hear, so like the kitchen was the farthest from her room. She'll hear it and she'll be like, what you making? And I'm like, fuck.
Nah, she made it mad hot.
Because no matter what it is, like the next morning she'll be like, oh, so you didn't know how to wrap the cord around the can opener or whatever when you put it away. Like there 100% will be something that just like pisses her off, or she'll be like, you didn't throw this out correctly, or like you didn't wash the fork. And I'm like, bro, you're stressing me out. Like I couldn't do anything without being heavily questioned.
Right.
And that's how it was in that house. Or like even like one weird thing, it was like a curfew thing. I had to be home. One of my mom's rules was that I had to be home before the sun went down for a while, probably up until I was like 18. That was the rule. And then the other rule was, and this was like a weird unspoken rule, like with my grandmother, you can't leave after the sun goes down. Because it's like, you got no business doing that. Even if it's 6 p.m. in the winter when the sun is down and that's still kind of early.
Yeah, I had
like,
that rule too, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you got no business doing that. So I would leave the house, like when I hung out with people, I would leave the house at 8 in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And just be out until 9 p.m.
Dude,
Like-
same.
And I was like, and another rule was, if you come back home, you can't go back outside. Like-
Really?
Yeah, because it's, part of it is, from my understanding, is just the idea of like, I forgot what the saying is in Spanish or whatever, but there's one, like if you lay your head and you go to bed and someone calls you to come back outside, like you don't go back outside. Like there's nothing good for you after that. But it's like, okay, but I came home at 2 and I want to leave again at 5. Like it's not a crazy time. But I think it was kind of like the same kind of rule applied because they didn't know the reason for me going out.
Yeah.
They kind of assumed the worst. It was like, well, if you came home and you were comfortable, why was there urgency to head back out?
Right.
So I mean, I guess
It's like, it's always those like old little, those tales
so
that
it's
they
like,
say.
I'm at friends' houses,
Right.
or like there's so many times I'm sitting on a park bench waiting for the next person to be free. Like I'll hang
Right.
out in the morning with one person and then in the afternoon with another, and there's like that weird gap, and I'm like, see, I'm lollygagging in the streets and I shouldn't be outside, but because I can't come back home and go back out, I'm just acting as if I'm hanging
You
out
had
with
a
the same
strong
person.
phone battery then.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
No, I mean, listen, people, I have 2 very different takes on my phone battery from all my friends. Some people are like, you always let your phone die. Your phone always dies. And
you're one of those?
No, wait. But then other people who I hang out with, they're like, yo, how are you at 30% at 1 a.m? And I'm like, listen, I think I'm just good with it. Like if I'm with someone who I know can like, is my guardian at the moment,
right.
whether it be
That's
my
true.
mom, my dad, or in some cases my boyfriend when we're out,
Yeah.
I'm like, his phone is our phone when my phone dies. It's fine. So it just depends. But if I know that I'm that person for whoever I'm with, then I'm like, this is gonna stay alive until whatever. So
Right.
yeah. And then also like when I was younger too, like I would charge my phone at my friends' houses, or like I knew where all the outlets were. That's another
Yeah.
thing. I knew which pizzerias had the outlets.
I was the portable girl.
Oh.
I had always had a portable on me, and so it was mad funny whenever somebody else would ask for a portable, and I'm like, "Fuck!" Like I kind of gotta use this because like I gotta be out all
That's
day.
all you got, yeah.
That's all I got.
Bro.
I wanted to say something about like when you were mentioning, you were talking about the guy, and how like you were 22 and your mom like obviously knows
Yeah.
like that age. Completely different with me and my mom, because it's like my mom does not know anything about my dating life, doesn't know anything about my sex life, anything. I think I would kill myself if she knew anything about my sex life. Like I'm like, please no.
Oh, see, my mom knows too much.
Yeah, no. And my mom does not know anything at all. And it's also funny because like my sister is like my second mom. And so when I told her for the first time, like last year when I was dating a guy that I was dating someone, and she was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. And I was like, why? And she's like, no, because you're my little sister. I can't.
You gotta tell someone.
I know.
Yeah.
I gotta tell someone. And then I like start like now I'm a lot more comfortable telling her. Like I even told her when I went to Puerto Rico, I was like, I'm gonna be thirst trapping, guys. Like I'm gonna be thirsting over the shirtless men over there. Like don't mind me. And she was like, as long as they got a 401k, girl, it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, period. But I feel like it's so weird because obviously like I'm at the adult age where I'm dating and like I'm having sex or whatever. And so it's like I can never have that mentality of like, well, yeah, like my mom like knows what I'm doing at like 24. It's like, no, in her mind, I don't know any man. I've never spoken to a man ever in my life. And so I remember this one other time I was hanging out with a guy who lived very far, and it was like 2 hours away or something like that. So I needed to catch a train at the end of the night. And I was like, well, I'm gonna just miss the train because I'm having a lot of fun with this guy. But I was like, fuck, my mom. I didn't tell my mom that I would be like sleeping over at this guy's house. And so I remember like I literally was shitting my fucking pants, calling my mom at like 12 a.m. being like, hey, like my lie. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. My lie. All my friends, y'all are my alibis. I don't care. y'all are if I said that I was at your house the other day, I was at your house. No questions asked. And so I remember like already telling my mom like I was going to a friend's house. And I was like, yeah, like I said the name to him. I'm like, yeah, like it's like this specific friend's house. Like she's a girl, don't worry. Like she lives like, 20 minutes away.
No brothers, nothing.
No brothers, nothing.
Yeah.
That's like a thing.
Yeah,
like
that's 100% a thing.
Like if you can't sleep over at someone's house.
If they got a father.
If they got a father, I'm like, nah, mom, their parents are divorced. Like the brother dipped. Like it's only girls in the house. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so she already knew I was like at this friend's house. And so I called her at 12 a.m. and I'm like, oh, like we drove all the way to like Albany and we were like hanging out. Now it's super late. Like she's not going to be able to drop me off at home. And my mom, like for the first time I was really shocked. She was like, okay, yeah, like that's okay. I was like, I'll come in the morning. And she's like, yeah, like that's fine. But I remember shitting my fucking pants because I never did that at my big ass age to like be like last minute like I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home. Which is why I started doing like the whole like, okay, I might come home late or I might sleep over at my friends now. I feel like I've been like testing the waters so much more and more now that I'm older.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, I feel like I've always been the rebel child because I'm like the one that my siblings always defended me no matter what. So like I was able to get away with a lot more stuff because of that. And I think my parents got to the point where they're like, we're tired.
Yeah.
We're kind of tired. And she's getting older. She's the last child. Like,
hold on. So me being the oldest, I've seen this shit with my parents. And I'm just like, hold on.
Nah, I know my sister wanted to slap the shit out of me.
No, like, okay, who do I talk about first? So my little sister, let's just start with the most rebellious one. I don't want to bring up.
Is it the littlest one?
No, the smallest is my younger brother on my mom's side. My little sister on my dad's side, like, I can't talk about the things that she's done and said. But I could bring up one thing. That's
your parents
like,
about to have a conversation with her right
now. No, like he's included and he know, like my dad knows what's up with this one. He had asked her because she was going into high school, like, do you think you're going to need birth control? And she was like, I don't think so. And it's just like, it's weird because I feel like part of it is because she sees how I am. She sees the life that I live.
Yeah.
And she sees just like, my dad's tendencies and how little he cares about certain things, how much he cares about. Like, she's really good at reading a room. She's really good at reading my dad.
Yeah.
And like, if I was her, when I was that age, I would have. The thing is, like, I started birth control when I was 16. So let's say, she's not 16 yet, but let's act like she was 16. I was thinking about it. I was like, if my dad said that to me, one, I would have already been on birth control. And two, I would have said, no, I don't think I need it. Because it's like, that's very different.
Right.
Like, my dad's very open. My dad is the type where like, he's like, listen, when I was your age, I was doing this. Like, he will tell you everything that he's done with no shame. And he's like, there's nothing that you're gonna do or have done that I haven't already done or haven't already thought of. So like, the reason my parents are strict is because they lived a wild life. And they're like, we don't want you to be that wild. Like, that's kind of crazy. And I still don't think I'm as wild as they were. So my dad, like with my younger siblings, he just wants to be like a lot more on top of it. And he'll ask questions. And my little sister is not scared to answer them. And I'm like, how is she getting away with this?
Right.
But then my dad, he'll be like, at least she's telling me the truth. Like, that's all I ask.
Right.
And I'm like, hold on. Because let's say I were to have told the truth, I was like, I don't know, man. Like, something's up. Because I feel like he induced so much anxiety with me.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, you better not do this. Or like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to blow something up. I remember
shit, we about to start your family drama.
My dad watches every episode, so he's going to have a ball. But my sister had her first kiss. I hadn't had my first kiss yet, but I was very close. And we were in the backseat of the car and she's getting the talk and he's like, first kiss leads to sex. Like, he was just kind of like, and then we were just in the backseat and she knew about like my little situation with the boy. We hadn't kissed, but I was just like sitting in the backseat like, this bitch better not say anything. I was just like, oh my God.
Right.
So I purposely didn't tell her about my first kiss because I was like, this bitch is going to use it against me.
Right,
I was like, we're not doing that. But, yeah, so like, seeing what happened with my stepsister, I was like, I cannot tell my dad anything. Like, I know he saw it more of like a, now Erica will definitely tell me things because he sees the consequences. And I was like, actually, no, I'm not going to say a damn thing.
Yeah.
Then there's my little sister who she learned from both of us. And she's like, I'm going to say everything and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, that's how my sister goes about it. Because my dad doesn't hit us. So if she knows she's not getting hit and she knows like, okay, woo, you're going to punish me. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, she's the type, she's like, yeah, I'll do dishes. I'll clean whatever. It's fine. Like, big whoop. And I'm like, that's a lot of maturity for, how old is she? Like, for a 12-year-old, 13-year-old?
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's young. So, right? I'm lying. 14? Yeah. Hold on. I'm fucking up with my siblings. She just got into high school. She got to be 14.
Yeah, that would be,
yeah, that's why, okay. My other little brother's 13. Okay, there we go. You guys are all fucking 5 in my head. It's fine. Like, but yeah, so she's got a lot of balls and a lot more than I had, and I don't know where she got them from. I think she's just very observant. But yeah, my dad, he doesn't, and I feel bad because I love all of them. Like, I don't want to, I'm not trying to talk and be like, you should be harder on my sister. Because then she's going to be like, Erica, what the fuck? Right? But it's just,
You're giving such older sister vibes right now. Like, I could tell.
Like, I'm just trying to like defend everyone, but it's just like, whoa. And then there's my little brother on my dad's side. He's just a good kid. Yeah. And my dad is going through this weird thing where it's like, he has very much like the idea that boys can rebel, boys can talk to girls, da-da-da-da. But the idea of my little sister doing something is like, oh, no. But if my little brother was like, oh, I want to date someone or, you know, like I need condoms, he doesn't care.
There's a double standard with men versus women.
Even in strict households, yes.
And like, it doesn't matter what culture you're from or anything, it's always that.
No, so that's another thing I've noticed with my little brother, my mom's side. My mom, what was it that she let him do? I think she let him go play ball at like, I forgot how old he was. It was recently, but I was like, wait, I wasn't allowed to even really hang out like that, and he's allowed to play ball. So, but he's a boy. He was allowed to, there was something else he was allowed to do.
They're allowed to stay out late. Like,
oh, we haven't gotten there yet with him. Yeah.
Because he's the youngest.
He's still a little munchkin. Yeah.
We about to see.
No, and she's like scared for him in the outside world. That's a whole.
I know, because these men nowadays, I can't.
Yeah. But I don't know, it was just weird watching, and I'm like, this is interesting. I was like, I don't like this. Like, I be getting kind of upset sometimes, but like, it's not my place. Like, I want my siblings to live a lot more of a stress-free childhood than I did, because me, I was shitting bricks 24/7. I feel like everything I was doing was wrong. I was just like, oh my God. Like, the first time my mom found out I was talking to a boy, we were talking on AIM. And then
funny story about AIM, really quick. Not even funny. It's more of like me just like fucking tugging on my sister. Basically, me and my siblings are all 8 years apart. And that's like a whole other story, because everyone was always like, oh my God, 8 years apart. I'm like, it's a long story.
My smallest age gap is 8.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My biggest one I think is 11.
Okay, so not bad. Yeah, because I was like, every time I mention that, they're like, damn. I'm like, yeah, like, again, immigrant parents. Like, my dad was at a different country working. He came home, made a baby, and then he would fucking dip. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But we were to be all 8 years apart. And I remember I was always that annoying ass little sister that would like watch over my sister whenever she was like typing her little messages.
Gosh.
And I remember like I would just be in the back, like, and she's like at the home computer desk. So it's like literally smack middle of our apartment. And I'm just like over her shoulder and I'm reading it out loud too. I'm like, so what did you mean by that? She looks and she's like, Nisha, that's a bad word. And then she snitches on me to my brother, because like my brother was like the father of the household. And so like she'll be like, Nisha just is saying a bad word. And then I'm like repeating it back and forth.
Oh my God.
And like, she's like, you see, she's reading it. And I'm like, yo, like.
What's crazy, I always say me and my aunt grew up as sisters, because she's, I want to say, how old am I? She's like 11 years older than me, I think. So the age gap between me and her is the same one between me and my little brother.
Oh, okay.
So like, you're talking about that, and that's what I used to do to her. I used to be like, oh, or like, she would talk to boys with like fresh ass usernames. Like, it was just like sneaky little ways of saying gross things. And I'd be like, so who's?
Like, who's so-and-so? Yeah.
Or like, this one, I mean, this is a throwback. I don't know if you remember this thing called Yoville. It was on Facebook. It was like you
Yeah,
get your own
wait.
little avatar and you like talk to people. It was like a weird like animated version of
Right.
Sims. It was a Zynga Facebook game.
Right.
That's what it was. And there was this boy, like, I don't know. It was like her boyfriend in that game. It's all real people, but it's
Right.
like that was like her little boyfriend, and his username was Elmo. And then I used to be like, "Are you gonna talk to Elmo today? Elmo's your boyfriend." And I was just like looking back, I'm like, all of that was so foolish and
Right.
odd. I'm like, that was none of my business. That was so none of my business. Or like you get to go on different servers and go to different rooms. So I used to go to the rooms that they would go to, and I would just kind of third
And just,
wheel.
like, follow them
yeah, and
around.
she would just be like, "That's my niece." Like, I'm sorry.
It's like that, like, I feel like I've seen it more in movies because I've never really met someone that has done this, where like they bring like their little brother on the date with them.
Hold on.
That's what it gets. You have a story?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
So this goes back to the strict household. So there was a time where like me and my little brother were together all the time because I had to help my mom watch him over the summers or whatever. And she never said that I had to like sacrifice my freedom.
Right.
So when I would hang out with my little boyfriends or whatever, I'd be like,
Boyfriends?
you know, like there was June, July, August, you know. And I would bring I'd be like, it's cool if my brother comes, because my brother's cool. Like,
Right.
he's really quiet. When I bring him anywhere, like people forget that he's there because he's just chilling. He doesn't complain. He's just like happy to be there.
Yeah.
So I'll bring him, and I kid you not, like so many times we've just gone to the park, and then what was the one time? There was another time I brought him to a boy's house.
Yeah.
And he was young, and like we all just watched like Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it was cute. And I
Right.
was like, okay, this is actually kind of nice. Because you
Yeah.
know, when you're young and then you see a boy with like a little kid, you're like, oh my God, they're so
Right.
cute. And I'm
Right.
just like, this is fun for everybody. My little brother gets some big brothers here
Right.
and there. And I was just like, I get to hang out with a cute boy. Like it was still fairly innocent. Like it's just nothing bad was happening. It's just my brother just happened to be there. And I don't think he remembers any of it. Like I don't like
Yeah.
at all. He had to be like 4, right? Yeah, 4
Wait,
or
that's such a
5.
cute age.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I would want that around. Actually.
exactly. So I don't know. I brought him around so many times, or like sometimes what was it? I have one video of my little brother saying something like "I'm the man" or like
Aw.
you know, it's like stupid stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, these are weird. Like looking back, I'm like, that's like such a formative age.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, I'm bringing you around these silly boys that I'm
Right.
talking to. Like looking back, I'm like, Erica, why you did that? Like,
Right.
but I'm not mad at it. I mean, he's a good kid. He's fine.
Yeah.
But
I
there
wonder
was
if-
potential to fuck up.
I wonder if my brother-in-law felt that way about me whenever my sister would bring me around when they
Aw.
first started dating. Because like they started dating when I was probably like, oh my God, like 13 probably. And so like I remember my sister would always like try to help like put me out there into the world. Like she was the one that like gave me my first little drink when I turned
Aw.
like, I think I was like 14 actually, when she like gave me a
Wow.
little sip of wine. I'm like, ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
But like I'm wondering if he felt that way, like, damn, like I'm trying to hang out with this cute girl and she got her fucking like 13-year-old sister come in.
Yeah, because 13's big.
13, yeah. Like 13
Yeah.
is a big age.
It is.
Yeah.
And how old was your sister?
She was probably like in her early 20s at that time.
Damn, yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, like-
because early 20s, like you finally get some kind of freedom, and it's
Right.
like now I got to bring my somewhat big little
Right.
sister.
Yeah.
Damn. Because you know stuff. It's not even
Yeah.
like, because with my little brother, like me and the boy, we could have talked about whatever, and he had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
He was just like playing or something.
Yeah. I
Damn.
feel like that's what's funny is like I feel like they like tried to withhold like certain conversations because I was around, and it's like, damn, we can't talk about any of this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like that's something I gotta like ask my sister about, because at the same time I'm like, this is the same sister that at 16 years old you brought me to a fucking frat party. First and last time. I would never do that shit again.
Damn.
That like sitting on that frat couch and everything, and my sister literally getting scared for my life. She's like, do not sit on that. And I'm like, why? She's like, there's some stuff that happens
Yeah.
on that couch.
I'm
And I'm
like,
like,
ew.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what y'all do here. I wanted to say something about how you were mentioning your parents, like the reason why they're strict is because they went through those wild years. Again, complete opposite with mine. Like I feel like I grew up very sheltered because my parents like were too scared for their kids of like this is their first time in America. Like they know nothing of what like drinking is and what dating is like. My parents also had an arranged marriage, so like love and like relationships was like a huge like taboo thing too. And so I feel like a lot of the way they raised their kids and like why they are the way they are is because they were just really scared of what life had to throw at us. And so like I feel like I like have a lot of empathy now that I'm older because of that, where I'm like, they didn't know any better. Like they were just trying to protect me.
Yeah.
And I'm over here fucking like, you know, and like getting drunk and shit like that, random people's cars, you know, like going on these trips, like I don't know. And so like I feel like it's funny because I was also trying to think like, so how will you be as a parent? You know, because we've, at least like for me too, like I'm going through my wild years, or I've been going through my wild years. So it's like, I'm like, damn, am I gonna be that strict parent now? Because I went through my wild years and I know what my kids are gonna possibly go through. I'm scared to have kids because of that, to be honest.
Oh no, I see. That's not the fear for me. I mean, I think I would want to go the same route that my mom did, because I feel like my mom was fair. And like the main reason things ever felt strict was just because I was younger. Like my mom, she says this to this day. She's like, I trust you, I don't trust the world. Like that's always been her thing. And I feel like as a parent, like I always say, it's like, I don't know how my mom did it, where I have like a heavy level of respect for her, enough to know like where the line is with how much to tell her. Not because I don't want to tell her, but because it's like, I'm still your daughter.
Right.
And like the line between that and just like, I don't know, like acting like she's like my friend and just telling her shit. And it's so weird, because it's like she's someone I want to talk to when, you know, I'm just walking somewhere and I'm bored. I'm like, call my mom, let's see what she's up to. Like we have enough of a relationship that it's like, we gotta have a conversation about basic stuff, but we're both equally interested. And there's very few people I feel that way about, that I could just talk about like, oh yeah, like I bought some makeup today and then I did this and did that. And she'll be like, oh my God, I knew about that brand. Like, how do you like it? And there's very few people in my life who I feel like I have that type of closeness with. Like with the whole like beauty and the mundane kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know how she did it, because then there are times where I'm talking to her about something and I'm like, yo, you would not believe blank. Or you're like giving her details and visuals and like, you know, or even when it came to like my personal like woman stuff, like my first UTI, I was like, girl, what do I do? Like, what is going on? And like, I never felt weird when it came to like, well, how'd you end up in that position?
Right.
Like the UTIs, I mean, that was just because if I don't drink enough water, she's gonna be like, yo, what's going on?
Right.
You know, by she, I mean, you know.
By my girl.
Yeah. But like, you know, there's other stuff that happened, like, you know, and I'm saying this very openly because like, I'm a girl. This happens to all women.
Nothing
like,
is TMI.
Like my first like yeast infection, I was like, I told her how I got it, because it was something happened or whatever. And she was like, yeah, that happens. It's fine, whatever. And that's such like an easy conversation to have when your mom is very open about the fact that, you know, like you're going to be out doing things. You're going to be doing people. You're going to be doing things with people, whatever.
Right.
Like she's very open with that. And I still, as the receiver of like her as a mom or whatever, as her daughter, I still can't pinpoint how she was able to do it. Like that's always been the weird thing to me, because I don't know if part of it is just the understanding between her and I, because I feel like this is gonna sound weird, like genetically, like the way that we understand things and just whatever she passed down to me in terms of just like the genetics of who I am, the way I understand people, the way that I deal with emotions, or even as far back as when I'm like, you know, a little kid, like the way that she taught me certain things about reading the room and talking to people and understanding why people think the way that they think.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how much of what has to do with the relationship that her and I have? It's really weird. Because then like, you know, then there's my dad. And I always say like, I didn't fear telling him anything after he found out I wasn't a virgin. That's how that went. Like it was like hide everything up until that point. But as soon as he figures it out, it's like, nothing else is hard. Like, you know, telling him I kissed the boy is nothing, or telling him like, yo, I was out, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's gotten to the point where he's like, I'm gonna need you to shut up. Like, stop telling me stuff right now. Like, I don't want to hear that. I'm like, you know what? Like, this is what you wanted for the past however many years. And now you got it. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like something with strict parents too, at least I feel like with my dad, like, it was that feeling of like control over your kids almost. Yeah. Where it's like feeling like, okay, like I'm still a father because they still they fear me enough to respect me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not how you do it, because that's why I didn't say stuff.
And
like
that's what creates anxious adults.
Yeah, because there's still things that I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I remember if I was out with a boy and I see, you know, my phone's ringing and it says daddy on it, I did not. No, like, it was my dad. No.
I was like, damn.
Yo, side note, like, I've had dudes that like wanted me to call them daddy, and I'm like, I literally call my father daddy. I'm never calling you that. Like, that is so weird to me.
I agree. Like, I'm like, listen.
No.
I guess I'll do it because it like satisfies you, but it makes me feel mad weird.
Nah,
like,
for me, I'm like, find another word. I will call you anything
right,
else.
like,
But I'm
can I
like,
just call you by your name?
yeah, like that's odd. I'm not gonna say that because I'm just like, so that's what I was saying. Like, if I was out with a guy and then it says daddy on my phone, like seeing that, I would start freaking out, because it's like there's one or two things that would happen. Either like my dad would like chill out and just like not call again. Maybe it was a fluke. Maybe he didn't mean to call me or whatever. Or he would call my mother and then my aunt and my grandma, who all knew, you know, or sometimes they wouldn't know. Sometimes they would think I was with a girlfriend or whatever. But even then, he didn't like when I was out. Yeah. So no one wanted to lie to him. So they'd rather just not respond. And that gets my dad upset. And so
poor guy.
Poor guy, nothing. Because
he just wanted to know where you were at.
The next step would be him spinning blocks to try to find me. Or
no.
Yeah, like my dad, he's gonna keep going till he gets what he wants, and if that means finding out where his daughter is, he's gonna figure it out. He's gonna call his people.
That's so cute though, from like a dad perspective.
I guess.
I don't know, my daddy issues coming out. Like, like my family and I, we didn't say I love you to each other until we were adults. Like when I heard my father apologize to me for the first time, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like. Damn. Like, I gotta be dreaming here. Cause like, it's not even like he just like is above that or anything. It's just like those things are not part of our culture. Like we don't like really like talk about love, but like loving each other. We don't really say I love you to each other like that. And like, we don't really hug each other. And like, we're not emotional people. Yeah. And I think like, that's a common thing in South Asian households in general. And I can assume like it's also like a very big thing in Islamic households. So like, I'm like feeling for your dad. I'm like, damn, like he was just trying to take care of his little girl. Yeah. That's it.
But at the same time, it's like, understand that I got 15.
You. What's his name?
Take a guess. Think about my name.
Erica. His name is Eric?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, you about to school me like Puerto Rican ass name? I don't know.
No, it's just Eric.
I got you, Eric.
Stop. He's gonna eat that up. He's gonna be like, see, somebody cares. But yeah, no, he was stressing me out because like I would think about the stuff that he says, and then when he'd be like, oh, like I was your age at some point, like I get it. But my issue was that if I told him where I was, he was going to show up.
Bro,
like that's true. The thing. Like as soon as my dad knew my location, he'd be like, okay, like, oh my gosh, I remember the first boyfriend he like formally met, it was because I think I was like 20. Yeah, I was 20. So I was just like, oh, like I'm out with a guy. I was like, let me just start responding to my dad, even when he calls in not so great situations. And he'd be like, oh, I could pick you up and take you home. And I'm just like, sure, daddy. Because if I say no, then it's sus. And I'm like, it wasn't even that deep. It was just like, I didn't want to go home yet, but I don't want to spend time with you and my boyfriend. Right. So I was just kind of like, okay, I guess it's time to go home. Guess you're getting dropped off, whatever. So then I was like, okay, cool. And that was me letting my dad in. But then my dad started hanging out with the boyfriend without me. And I was like, this is not cool. And then the boyfriend wasn't like, I'm going to say it, wasn't man enough to be like, no, actually, I don't want to hang out. So anytime my dad offered, he would say yes. And I'm just like, and then it puts me in a weird situation because if I tell the boyfriend to say no, then my dad has beef with the boyfriend, but then there's me in the background who's like, no, I said that. And then he'd be like, why wouldn't you want me to hang out with your boyfriend? It's just like, there's just certain boundaries. And then eventually it turned into this big thing. And I was just like, daddy, like, I really don't like you guys hanging out. Right. And he was like, why? And then he pretty much like chalked it up to like, he's never been like a dad to a daughter with like a serious boyfriend. So he's like, I don't know where the boundaries are. Aww. Oh, please. I
don't know, my little heart.
No. And because like, I'm saying it like the way that I'm saying it, but my dad's very like Bushwick and tough. So like, so like he's not saying it as
tough
soft.
Ass man with a soft heart.
Like, you know, if I bring up like real stuff to my dad, he just kind of, the way he responds is very like, how is it? It's just kind of like, that's just the way I am kind of thing.
Right.
And I'm just like, no, that's the problem. That's the way things are. And I just don't like that. So yeah, it's hard having like big conversations with him.
My sister is like my second mom. Like I feel like a lot of whatever I didn't learn from my mom, I learned from my sister. And so because my brother-in-law was like dating my sister for so long too, and he essentially like raised me for half my life, he was also kind of like a dad to me. And I remember we were out at dinner, like lunch. No, we were out at lunch, and it's such a classic like older brother like kind of dad thing to say, like, oh, so like, are you dating anyone? And I'm like, damn, my sister doesn't even ask me that. Like, what the fuck? And at this time, like, he's asked me that multiple times, and I'm like, always like, nah, like, you know, fuck these men, whatever. At the time, I did have a boyfriend, and so I was like, actually, yeah. And he's like, no way. And he was like, does Naz, my sister, does Naz know about this? And I was like, no. And so then he brings it up to her. And then my sister's like, yeah, I saw a guy's arm in your story, and I was gonna bring it up, but I didn't. And I was like, fuck you, Marcus. They definitely did. I was like, fuck you, Marcus. But then here's the thing. I was like, so he's also gonna be picking me up from the restaurant, guys. And they're like, no way, Nisha. They're like, so, and like Marcus is like, so can I meet him? And I was like, absolutely fucking not. Like, no. And so then like the entire time I'm waiting for this guy to come pick me up, Marcus is just like pacing like back and forth, like, oh, like where is he at? Like I'm trying to meet him. I'm like, I go to my sister, I'm like, please don't. And so like my sister's like dragging him back to his car, and my guy finally like comes up, and he doesn't like I told him like, do not get out of the car because I'm like, the second you get out of the car, there's people, they're gonna bombard you, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. But like I just see Marcus in the distance like trying to wave and everything. I'm like, this is such a classic like dad moment. But I'm like, all right, I guess like I guess if my own like blood father couldn't do this, Marcus is gonna fucking do it instead.
Aw, but that's cute.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, see, exactly. Like,
I guess.
So when did your sneaking around start? Like what's the earliest memory you have where you were like, oh shit, like I want to do things that my parents are not okay with?
Damn. I feel like probably in high school is when I really, really tested the limits. I mean, like the first thing that popped into my head was way before that, where like, this is just me being a badass fucking kid, and it's probably gonna be a little controversial, but like I used to go to mosque when I was younger, and I would sometimes skip. So I would skip religion class, like religious ass parents, literally down the block too. Like I would sometimes skip. I was still top of my class though. Don't worry about it. But I think like really, really testing the limits was when I was in high school, because even with what you were saying about like you getting mad at your siblings for having it easy, basically, like when I was in high school, I really tested the limits with my curfew. So like I would come home probably like at 8 p.m. And I remember my sister being mad because she was like, bro, like mom used to fucking like come at me for getting home later than like 5.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, sucks to be you. Shit. And then I think like after that, it was like, I'm like, oh, like the ripped jeans trend. I was like, well, I want to do that. Yeah. So like, and that was a no-no because you're showing skin. And so that was a very big, like, you can't show skin as a Muslim woman. And so me showing a little bit of my like knee was a huge fucking problem. And like, that was like the biggest rebellious thing I did. And then I think like, the other really big rebellious thing, but like this wasn't even like something that I think my parents would have ever like caught on to. It was a half day, and I think I was a senior, and I was like, I'm gonna dabble in some weed. I was like, I'll just dabble. I got way too fucking high. Like, oh my God, like I was my literal glasses were fucking fogged up and everything. But like, I like truly felt like my sister doesn't even know about that. I don't even think my sister knows I still smoke weed. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But like Yeah, I feel like, and it's almost like low-key embarrassing because it's just like having to sneak around in high school, like you're about to go to college.
Yeah.
It sounds embarrassing, but I'm just like, nah, that's when my life started. Because
Yeah.
before that, it was like, I couldn't even like, I remember with elementary school, I wanted to it was only like 3-4 blocks down from my house. I wanted to so badly like take myself to school, like walk myself. And my mom's like, hell no.
Oh.
And then when I went to middle school, it was like just right behind our house. First year, she was like, no, I'm going to have to drop you off. And then like once I was my second, third year of middle school, she was like, okay, like you can go by yourself, but you need to come home at this time. And if you don't, I'm going to call you.
Yeah.
Cause like I remember my mom had gotten a phone probably when I was like early middle school. But she would give it, no, like late elementary school. So I thought, first off, I thought I was the coolest bitch with my little flip phone. Nobody else had a phone. But she would give it to me so that she can call me to know where I was at. But that was the only way she was able to know. Like my parents never knew how to track a phone, or like my parents still don't really know how to use an iPhone.
Yeah.
So like I was able to get away with so much more stuff.
Yeah, like you were
because of
living
that.
life like our parents did. Well, like my
Yeah.
parents did, you know, without the phones and
Yeah,
stuff. But
exactly,
it's like,
exactly.
you see me when you see me.
Right, exactly. You see me when you see me. Exactly.
Damn. Oh my God.
What's your earliest?
I mean, the thing is, I was sneaking around before I had to sneak around. It was weird.
And it's also like, I feel like the things that we define as sneaking around, other people are like,
Yeah, you weren't
That's
even
just average.
Yeah, like for me, like okay, this isn't a sneaking around, but like this was like a double life thing that I started really early on. Like when I was in middle school, like I would curse like but I didn't. I knew how to not curse at home so well. Like I never cursed, and it was like everyone in the house was like, Erica doesn't curse, Erica doesn't curse. But like being in a Hispanic household, it's kind of like the reverse, where they're like, can you curse at least a little bit? Like we want to know you can do it or whatever. Or like I used to curse a lot, like as a little kid, but they used to tell me to stay stuff. Like there's this. It was a day before I started kindergarten because I didn't go to pre-K. I started in kindergarten. So my mom wanted to make sure like I knew how to yell at people if they fucked with me. And there was a video, so old video somewhere, and I'm standing on my bed and everyone's like around me. So they're like, so what are you gonna say if a kid, you know, like bullies you or whatever? It's like, if you mess with me, my daddy's gonna fuck you up. And I just kept saying it. Like they were just like, okay, more confidence. Say it with your chest this time. And then like that was the most I would curse back then. Like it was just a whole bunch of stupid stuff that they would tell me to say. But then I was like, cursing is bad. I'm not gonna curse in front of them, but I'm gonna curse at school. And I was cursing all the time. I mean, anyone could tell now, like I don't stop. It just keeps happening. And then I said my first curse word, I think, in front of my mom, probably when I was like 18. That was the first time anyone, or like my aunt, my grandma, this first time any of them heard me curse. So like when I would just curse in my regular, like just talking, they thought that shit was hilarious. Like they were just like, I could have said anything and they were fucking rolling. And I was like,
you're like, look at the little baby just cursing.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, fuck.
You know what's so annoying though is that people in like my high school would be shocked whenever I would curse because like I never did that. Like I never cursed around the house or anything like that. So it was never like just like naturally in my vocabulary. Now it's like every other fucking word.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, yeah, just now. But like I remember like people in high school, like they would hear me curse and like, oh my God.
I'm thinking about it now because I curse a lot. I wonder if it's because I didn't so much.
Right.
Or like because I had like purposely suppressed it for so long. I'm like, am I just getting them all out now?
Because like now I say like around the house too. And like granted, like my parents speak a completely different language. And like the one curse word that my parents know by heart is shit. Because my mom, funny story, when she immigrated here, she had heard other people say shit and she thought it was just like a regular like word. So like she would like be like, oh shit, like whenever like something would happen. And my sister, who also immigrated from Bangladesh, I think she was probably like around 8 years old or something like that when she immigrated. And so this was like when she was starting school. And obviously, like, she's hearing my mom say this word. So then, like, my sister started saying it in elementary school to, like, her teachers or, like, whenever something, like, would happen, she, like, drops it and she'd be like, oh, shit. And I'm like, I remember when my sister told me that, I was cracking up because I can just, like, my mom says shit like it's literally, like, again, like, every other fucking word. And so now, like, whenever I curse, I'm like, I wonder if my mom like knows that I'm like really cursing, especially when I'm mad. Cause I'll just be like, what the fuck? And my mom just is like chilling in the back. I'm like, or like I remember I'll be like on FaceTime and I'm like cursing up a storm. They're like, yo, like you talk to your parents with that mouth? And I'm like, they don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. How about that? How about that?
Damn. I remember the first time I think like really snuck to see a boy. I think I had to have been 15-ish. Because I remember, like, I had my first boyfriend when I was 11, but there was no sneaking. He would just, like, walk me home from school or whatever. But actually, wait, give me a second. I went on my first date with Michael Greenwood in...
Not the government. Michael Greenwood is watching right now.
in 2012, I want to say. And it was because, like, I used to always hang out with my best friend and her mom and her dad all the time. So...
But you said your first boyfriend name was Michael?
Yeah.
My first boyfriend's name was Michael.
It was a blonde boy with blue eyes because white boys were the thing, Justin Bieber, all that good stuff. And I remember my best friend's mom was like, oh, like, does Erica want to bring her friend? But she knew what was up. Like, we all used the word friend and we all knew what it was. And I had told my mom, like, oh, like, you know, my friend's mom said that he could come. And she was like, but she knew. But my mom was just like, okay, well, that's supervised. Like, you're doing better than I would. If it was me, I would have, whatever. I was like, okay. She didn't say that, but that was her thought process at the time. And we went to go see Step Up. I forget which one it was that was out at the time. And, oh my God, this is one of my most embarrassing moments ever. I don't think that anything else embarrasses me more than this. Okay, the thing I'm going to say right now isn't the embarrassing thing, but I'm just going chronologically the date. We went to Wendy's, and I remember my friend and her parents, they sat at a separate table, and me and this guy, we had our little chicken nuggets and stuff on our own table. And I laughed, and it was one of those, I don't know, I wasn't even sick, and it wasn't even allergies, but you know, you just have all this mucus at the top of your nose. Yeah. It takes that one laugh, and everything comes out. That happened.
Oh, no.
And he was so sweet. And to think this isn't the embarrassing, like, I didn't care for that. I was like, everybody has boogers. Like, we're fine. He just gave me tissues. And I was like, sorry. I went to the bathroom. My friend came. She was like, you good? And I was like, it's boogers everywhere. But then we were at the movie. And, like, you know, when you're young, you go to the movies, you got like a good hour and a half for someone to make some kind of move, whether you touch pinkies, you know, you hold hands or something, or like an arm around you or whatever. Yeah. Bro,
oh no. I'm nervous for you.
No, like the thing is, it's so foolish, but literally saying it out loud kills me. Like, I put my arm around him.
You put it around Oh no.
Like, I think about that moment and I'm like, why did he leave it there? Because he could have also just like been a boy, took my arm off and was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to
right. Like, he could have been smooth with it.
Like, there's just so many things. And like, I think about that. I'm like, I bitched him. Like, it was just, it's so weird. Like,
that's so funny.
It was, and the thing is, we never talked about it after. Like, I didn't tell anyone.
He's probably telling girls now, like, yo, bro, I remember my first date with this one girl.
I don't know, but that shit, like, that memory kills me every time. But then, like, the more like mature way of like sneaking around and stuff that happened, I think it was 2015. There's this thing called the Italian Feast or whatever that I go to every year in the neighborhood, and there was this one boy at the Zeppel stand, and I was looking at him. I was like, oh, he's cute. And then my friends were like, do you want to talk to him? Because like I was the most like, I was the one that didn't do anything. Like at that point, I think like two of my friends had lost their virginity. Like these girls were dating. And I was like, I'll be home. I don't know what you guys be doing. Right. They give him a post-it with my phone number on it, or my Snapchat. Might have been my Snapchat, because I've always been weird about giving out my number. And so then he messages me, and he's cute, and da-da-da-da. So then he was like, oh, come to the feast tomorrow. I come, I get 20 free fried Oreos.
No way.
Bro, that's when I started learning, like,
wait, how old are you?
I was 15.
15,
yeah. Damn. So those were still valuable at the time. Yeah. I was like, fried Oreos, 20? Damn. And some Zeppels. I was like, that's when I started learning that, like, boys only have to like you a little bit and you get free stuff. Right? I was like, oh, so this is how this works. And so then we like snuck around to like the side of the building. He got on his little break or whatever, and we're kissing. And I'm like, eee! Like, in the moment, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like I barely know this guy. What am I doing? You know, I felt so rebellious. I was so cool. And then like I see him for the duration of like the feast, which is like a week. And then we're talking. I don't see him again because when you're that young, it's still weird. Like you don't travel on the train to see people. It's just more if they situationally can see you because, you know, they work somewhere close or they go to a school close to you or something. That's the only way you see them. So I don't see this guy and we're talking, but it's still cool. And then I don't hear from him for like 2 weeks. And then
I would kill myself.
Nah, I was fine. I was like, okay, that ended. Cool. And then he messages me.
Uh-huh.
He said what was it? He got arrested.
Nah.
I said, wow.
Fucking
And
around
then
with
just
a
blocked him.
convicted felon
Yeah,
at 15 is crazy.
I was just like, we don't got to do that. Like I was wondering where you went. Now I know, and now I don't care.
Right,
Like, and that was the beginning of me just like being like, boys are silly. Boys are here for a little bit of time. They're just here to pass the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, what else do I have on here? Because I'm trying to think of all this stuff oh my God, yes, the loopholes. I have a section for loopholes.
Okay.
So like, one loophole that I used hard was my grandma, like she never got the milk herself. Like she always told us whenever she needed milk for her coffee or whatever, go get the milk. She told me and my aunt that. My aunt never went, but I would go. So I was like, okay, cool. But then there was a time like when I was seeing, you know, I'm always seeing boys. Like my whole teens, I'm just seeing boys. Like, let's just get that out the way. And what's it called? She asked me to go get the milk. And I was like, yeah, of course. And then it got to a point where I was voluntarily getting the milk.
Yeah.
So I would leave the house at 6 p.m. It's dark outside, but I'm going to go get the milk. So I was, I'm going to go get milk. And then I would be gone for like 2 hours. I would go to the frozen yogurt spot with the boy. I'd walk around. I'd go to the pier, but I came home with milk and no one was mad. No one said anything.
No one questioned why it took you 2 hours to get fucking milk.
It only mattered that I came home with the milk.
That is crazy.
That was my favorite. That was the best one. That was really the best one. And I think it also was because my aunt and my grandma understood that I was a teen girl and I was definitely out doing things, but they didn't want to be liable for what would happen if I told them I was going to see a boy.
Yeah.
And if my mom would have been like, so you knew she was out with a boy? Instead, they were like, no, she was getting the milk. Because that's as much as I told them, as much as they knew.
Right.
But I feel like they kind of knew.
I feel like especially like in my teens, I wasn't dating. I didn't have my first boyfriend until I was 17. And again, the strict parent thing, the religious thing, all of that. So like I just didn't really date. So I feel like I had to come up with like way more mature loopholes by the time it came to me dating.
Yeah.
So my first boyfriend, like I wasn't like sleeping over at his house or anything like that. And like my mom always knew like I would kind of hang around with my friends anyways after school or like on weekends and stuff. So like I was able to use like the loophole of like, yeah, like I'm just hanging out with so-and-so and be gone for a few hours. But when it came to wanting to actually sleep over at a guy's house, and I remember around this time, this was when my sister moved out of the house. And so I was like, okay, I know my lie. I know my sister about to be the best alibi right now. So I'll be like, Mom, yeah, like I'm gonna go visit my sister. Like I'm gonna go sleep over. And I would feel so bad because she'd be like, oh, like go bring her like this food or something. And like sometimes like it would be like some like frozen samosas to like bring to my sister. And so like I would just like give it to like another friend or something like that. So I'm so sorry to my sister for you never got those samosas. But like that would be like my way of convincing my mom, like, yeah, I'm gonna go see my sister. Whole time I'm sleeping over at a guy's house, which also
you
like
were sleeping over at 17?
No, not at 17. This was like this was like way after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's a random side note. Like I always wonder how those kids got away with it. Like
me too.
There was this one couple in middle school. They used to sleep over each other's house all
middle
the time.
school is crazy.
Yeah, I was like,
I wouldn't even let my
what?
own kid do that.
No, that's another thing. The kids are having sex earlier and earlier and earlier.
I feel like because now I gotta get into that because that was so wild to me, and that really fucked with my mental too. Because I was just like, I can't keep up. Like I feel like again, like my personal growth was so much like I was a late bloomer in everything.
Yeah.
I didn't even have my first kiss until I was 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's like, again, the strict parents, but I was also just like a really insecure child. And like a lot of it stemmed from the way that I was raised, like just being told growing up, you can't show off your body. And like, you know, like you can never like make yourself look like pretty where it's like attracting a man or like attracting a guy. And like you can never talk to guys like that because it's like, that's a sin. Like you can't talk. And like, obviously like my mom said it to me when I was younger in that way because it was to scare me. Whole time it's more just like, it's because she wanted me to get married to a Muslim Bengali man.
Yeah.
Newsflash, that's not gonna happen, girl. Maybe, maybe not. But on top of that, it's like, okay, like, so I'm already like really anxious about like talking to guys. I don't know how to talk to guys. I'm told not to talk to them. I feel uncomfortable in my body. And then on top of that, these bitches are having sex at fucking like 12. I'm like, yo. So now I have to, if I do have a crush on a guy, now I have to over sexualize myself to get their attention, even though I was told that that's wrong. But I feel like that's what kind of like makes you want to do it more. It's like, oh, like this is bad. Like I can't do it.
Do you feel almost like you're like catching up?
Yeah.
Like it's just like you have to do the most so that it feels like you're at an equal level with the ones who have, you know, however many more years of like experience than you do.
Especially when it's like all my friends like had like their boyfriends or like had a guy that they were talking to. And I'm like, I'm reading Harry Styles fan fictions, guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking good. Like I think like it's like a blessing and a curse because like when I look back on it, sometimes I'm like, I learned a lot of really great lessons by not dating because I would see my friends being in really shitty relationships and like they would like vent to me about it and like I would give advice like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but like outsider perspective, sure, I'll give you advice. And so I feel like that helped me kind of like I was like you get like secondhand high or whatever like that. It was kind of like a secondhand experience that I got of like, oh yeah, like I know what toxic relationships look like because my friends have been in toxic relationships. But then at the same time, like at 24, I'm like, damn, like I'm only just now experiencing these specific things because I never got to experience them
because even
before.
if you know what it looks like until you're in it, now you're like, wait, this is why she was stuck on him, or this is why she was tied to him and stuff.
Right, exactly. I'm like, literally like what you guys are saying, like what you went through in middle school, high school, I'm like, I'm going through that now. Like, and it's annoying, yes. And like you would think like, okay, like she's supposed like she's mature, like she has like she's older.
Yeah, but until you
like,
experience it, you don't know.
Exactly, exactly.
Damn. And that's something that bothered me when I was younger when it came to like the time, because it's so weird. There's like a time period, like a certain set of years where it's like you find out when everyone loses their virginity.
Yeah.
And I remember for me, I think I was like the last one in my friend group to lose their virginity. And like something that I found out years after that like to this day still bothers me. I've never said this out loud on the pod or whatever. So my best friend at the time, she loses her virginity. And obviously I find out, I guess like the day after, 2 days after, cool, and whatever. She tells me the information. I'm like, oh my God, how was it? Like, are you okay? Da, da, da. So that happens. How old are we? I want to say like 14 or 13. I think when I was, I want to say like 19, I think one of my other friends in that friend group who lost her virginity before that girl, me and her were still friends. We were no longer friends with the other girl that I'm talking about. And she was like, you know, like I'm telling you this just because like so many years have passed. But when she lost her virginity, she told me before she told you because you hadn't had sex yet. And she wanted to tell someone who, you know, also had the experience.
Yeah.
And me at 19 or 20, like I said, I forget, was so crushed. Because like when you have a best friend, like you assume like you guys are the first person to know everything about one another. And I was like, wait, like she didn't think I could, what?
Right,
like I was just like... It was such a weird feeling for me because I'm like, ew, because like she told me that I was the first person that she told. And it's so weird that like those experiences back then are like such big deals and stuff. And it's like this huge thing. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was just like, what, should I have had sex sooner for us to be closer friends? Like that's kind of weird. But that was that whole period of time as kids is such a weird, like, it's a race for some people.
Yeah.
And it's also just kind of like standing on the sidelines for other people. Like I was just kind of like, have fun, guys.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Like I was like a mom, like just setting them on their way. And, like,
it's just, but and then you're in this weird spot too, because like I was an alibi for a lot of my friends. Like a lot of my friends is like safe home or whatever whenever shit actually hit the fan. But when they were out with their little boys and stuff, they're out here using my name, and I'm like, I wasn't a fan because I'm like, I don't even know what's supposedly so worth it to
right.
be. Because in my head, I'm like, bitch, you could be hanging out with me.
Right.
Like, and I'm just like, and you over here lying, and now I can't see you till next week because you already saw me this week.
Right.
I'm just like,
nah, yeah.
Like, that used to piss me off so
But like,
bad.
I also like, I feel like, again, like when I reflect back now as an adult, I get why people used to do that with like, because it's like you want to be able to tell someone that can truly relate to those things. And I think it did suck for me at times when like people would tell like their other friends about like their relationship struggles or like what's going on in their relationships. But it's because it's like I've never been in a fucking relationship at that time to know like, yes, I could be a sounding voice, but like that's probably not what the fuck they need. Like they need actual advice. So I'm like, again,
because sometimes you need to hear what someone else went through. And I'm like, I get it, but
because it's like she could have came to me and been like, yo, Erica, like I had sex and like it was the worst experience ever, blah blah blah, and like you guys, like she probably would have expected like you to be like, yo, my first time was fucking ass too, dead ass. Everything I know about sex came from a Harry Styles fan fiction.
I don't know if that's worse than porn. Because I feel like it romantic.
Don't be judging me now.
No, listen, I read.
Listen,
the fan
me and Harry go way back,
bro. I've read the fan fictions. I've read that he's my stepbrother. I've read that they abducted me or my parents sold me to One Direction. Trust me, I'm not judging it, but I'm just saying that like
the most toxic relationship I've ever been in was with Harry Styles.
Oh my god, because the way that like I don't mean that it's worse in the sense that it's like the worst thing to go based off of. It's just that. Like, the same way that guys have porn and they think that sex is this crazy, aggressive thing. I feel like with Wattpad, it's more of like, you think that there's so much more love present with every guy you're gonna have sex with. And then you realize, like, no, sometimes it's just like, one and done, in and out,
so
gotta
the love bombing isn't actually what's supposed to happen? Got it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think, like, that also contributed to a lot of, like, why I am the way that I am, unfortunately. But, like, besides that, like, I don't think I have like sex ed in school. Like we had health class, yeah. But like that, they don't really. Like, they give you like condoms. The sex part is
just one class.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like today's the day, and then like a notice gets sent home. Like we're gonna talk to your kids about sex. If you don't want them in the room on that day,
I remember this very distinct memory of like me and my mom. We were waiting for the doctor, and of course, like, you know, like she sees free stuff, she's fiending for it. So she saw free condoms, but obviously she doesn't know how to read English.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, like I'll grab some.
She
and
thinks
I'm
it's like wet naps.
Yes, that's probably what she thought. And I'm like, Mom, like, no, put that back, please. And she's like, why? Like, they're just giving it out for free. I'm like, Mom, please put it back. And there's like a guy that was like sitting in the same waiting room as us. And I'm like this fucking like 12-year-old child, like just being, I wasn't 12, probably like 14. Just like literally yelling at her Muslim mom for carrying these fucking condoms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, like, I don't know what my mom, or I don't even want to get into that. Okay. what my mom does. I don't want to get into that. But I'm like, Mom, you don't need that. Like, you don't need that. Yeah. No one in this family needs that. And if we do, you're not going to be the one we take it from.
Yeah.
And so I remember like with health class and like I was like, she's like, oh, like, what's in that bag? And like, I pull it out. There's like condoms and stuff like that. She was like, oh, what is that? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it.
Oh my God, you're reminding me of the first time I ever went to the GYN. Not the GYN. The first time I went to the doctor for birth control. And I remember like, what's it called? I went to the doctor and I had like something down there and it was like a pimple. I'm saying this because I know what it was. I'm gonna get there. Yeah. But I was like a pimple, and I'm very on top of everything down there, and I was like, that something's off. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I don't know, and I have to go to the doctor. And I'm not gonna tell my mom about it. I'm not gonna tell my dad because that's embarrassing. But I'm gonna make sure I go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor, and I'm like, hey, I think I have herpes, and they're like,
Just go like jump in.
yeah, and they look at me so weird, and they're like, fill out this form, we'll send you in, you know, like whatever. I'm filling out the form, blah 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 blah, and then I go in, and they're like, so what are you here for today? And I'm like, you know, I repeat it, and they ask me like, are you itching? Like all this stuff. And all my answers are no. They're like, you don't have herpes. You're fine. Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean? They were like, trust me, it's uncomfortable. Like
You would know.
You don't have it. But they were like, but because you're having these questions and thoughts and stuff, are you on birth control? And I was like, no. So they were like, got it. So they put me on birth control. And then because when you're so young, and I had the thing on my account where it's like they can't send you anything home that talks about the fact that you're having sex or whatever.
Yeah.
Because of that, you have to like talk to like a therapist or whatever every time you go. And I'm talking to a therapist. She's asking me like how things are at home. I'm like, healthy household, like everything that I'm saying, I'm like, everything's good. Like I just want to be on top of my crotch, and I don't want to tell my mom about it.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, that's nice. Like I feel like they were relieved. And then they sent me to the room where they give you a paper bag, and they're like, take what you want. And I took all the condoms. I was like, that one is weird. Like some of them go in the dark, some of them are flavored. I'm like, listen, this is fun. And so
it's like
I
a little
stuffed
kid in
my
a candy
bag.
store.
Yes, I stuffed my bag. They asked me if I needed plan Bs, if I needed any just to have. And I was like, you know, I asked if my insurance covered. They were like, yeah. I was like,
Fuck
everything's free.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So I'm grabbing all this stuff. And then my house became the house where like all the girls went to when they needed like condoms and stuff. Because the thing is like I went for that, but it's like I wasn't having sex. And so I was just like, I have all these condoms. I told all my friends, I was like, listen, if you guys need, you know, safe sex, man. And I had like this box. And when the girls came over, like no one ever went into my room. So I would open up the box, and like I would just have everyone pick what they want. I'm like, you want glow in the dark? You want this? You want that? And my house just became the place for that. Where it's just like, if you want safe sex here. I remember the first time I bought a pregnancy test, and I was shitting bricks.
Oh my
I was
God.
just like, bro, I had to have been like 17.
Yeah.
And I went, and I was just like now I could, like, I bought pregnancy tests for my friends or whatever, just like pick it up on my way to see them or whatever if they need it. And it's nothing. But at that time, you're thinking like, oh my God, they know it's for me.
Yes.
And it's just like
the internal dialogue that you have.
and it's like, I mean, when you're that young, I'm pretty sure they do think it's for you because they see the nervousness on your face and shit. But as you get older, they don't know who it's for, and they don't care. Like, it's just like, it's not that deep. Like, it's really not. And so I remember like giving it to them and be like, do you need a bag? What the fuck do you think? Do I need a bag? I'm just gonna hold a pregnancy test in my hand out of this Dwayne Reed.
You know what I used to think? I used to think I needed to show my ID. Like I thought you needed to be a certain age to buy a pregnancy test. So I remember like being like, holy fuck, like I'm 17. Like I don't know.
No,
what
that'd
the
be
fuck.
crazy. I mean, at
That
the
would
rate
be
this
really-
country's going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever, besides the point. Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember the thing is, and this is just like random big sister talk to people. When you're that stressed about being pregnant, you will not get your period because of the stress. The stress will literally stop your period from coming, because every time I've had a scare and taken a pregnancy test, my period has come the same day.
Yeah.
And I remember like I went to a pizzeria because I couldn't go home and take it and throw it out in the garbage and have my grandma go through the garbage. That's something that she did. When she thought stuff was suspicious, she would go to the garbage. That's a whole other story. But I took it at a pizzeria. I was with the guy, and I came out, and I was like, we're good. I freshly peed on a stick. I sit down, eat pizza. It's a great day. Like, I was just like...
Oh, I thought you didn't say it. And then I got my period.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, later that night, yes. But it was just like, I don't know, like being a girl and being young and going through that really awkward phase where you can't talk about anything to anyone, but you're going through shit that someone should know about is hard.
I remember also like my sister, my like card was under my sister's account. So like I would be terrified because she didn't know I was dating. She didn't know I was having sex. And so like I was terrified. Not that like my sister was going through like, oh, let me see what transactions or whatever. But I'm like, what if it blatantly says on like the statement, pregnancy test? It's not gonna fucking do that. It's just gonna say like Dwayne Reed or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I remember just shitting fucking bricks. Like, oh my God, like my sister's going to message me at the end of the month and she's going to see that I bought a pregnancy test.
Nah, I remember one time, because I'm under my mom's insurance and my dad's insurance. So like everything was going through my mom's insurance, but I don't know if there was a switch up or something. There was a time that the birth control came under my dad's insurance, and I was with my dad, and he was like, oh, what's this? Like, it wasn't a charge. Like his insurance covered it, but it was something new. And he was just wanted to check, like, was that for you? He was like, oh, like, what is that? And I was like, That's birth control. And I was like 18 though. So like he was fine with it, but he didn't know that I was on it.
Yeah.
Like it was just like something that he was just like, huh? And I was like, yeah, it's birth control. And he was like, okay, it just went on with his day.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, we don't need to talk about it. Especially like if it's something like that where like I'm being safe and, you know, I'm actively doing it on my own. It's just like, what else can you say?
It was a very tough thing for my mom to accept when I needed to go on birth control. And it wasn't even for sex. It was because of like I had really bad acne. My hormones were all the way fucked up. And so like I genuinely, the only option I had was, not the only option, but like one of the only options I had was getting on birth control. And I remember the really tough conversation my sister had with my mom of like, she needs to try this. And my mom like just being like, no. Cause like obviously like hears the word birth. She's like, is she doing sex? Like, is she having sex? Like,
and also
what
it gives you the freedom to do it secretly.
Right, exactly. And so I remember it was more like my aunt, like we went to Bangladesh. My sister tells my aunt about my situation and my aunt was able to explain it to my mom. But like, I remember it being, like, I feel like, again, especially as like I'm getting older, I'm like, my mom just didn't know any better. And like, it was really about like having to teach my parents about these things, which like sucked because it was like I'm learning all this for the very first time too, and then I have to teach my mom who's like doesn't even know anything or the context around it.
Yeah,
like having to explain to her, well, like people take it for their hormones and like they're like
because you're also not a doctor.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And then I feel like that even goes into like mental health. Like I'm very open to like talking about like how I'm on Lexapro, and like I remember I told my mom, I was like, oh, like, can you go like pick up my medication? And she was like, oh, like what medication? Because she like knew I got off of birth control too. So she's like, what medication do you have? And I was like, oh, like it's like for my head. And she was like, what's wrong with your head? And I'm like, it's gonna go into a huge other thing. But I remember also like in middle school, like, you know how like the doctor always has to have like that mental health conversation with you. And I was really struggling with my mental health at the time. And so the doctor like legally had to tell my mom what was going on. And I remember it being like the most dreaded conversation because like them having to call a translator up and like explaining it to my mom and like the look on her face of like confusion. Like it was just like, I don't get like why.
Because then there's a separate conversation she has to have with you. And it's like, why aren't you okay? Like
but like,
what's wrong?
That's the thing we never did. It was kind of like okay, like now I know. And that's it.
What?
Yeah. And it wasn't even like she was being cold or like she was like, it was just genuine confusion.
Or did she just not know where to go from there?
Yeah, she just didn't know where to go from there. Like it was just kind of like, okay, like you're sad, you're struggling. I don't know what to do. Like she's never experienced, like she's never known resources herself where like if she was ever sad, like how the fuck she would deal with it. Because it's like, growing up, it's like you just fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
And like, so she was never exposed to like the fact that like, especially coming to America, like you have access to resources and like tools, medication, things like that to help you with those things. But it's like mental health is such a taboo thing, especially in South Asian cultures. I don't want to say especially because I feel like it's taboo in so many cultures.
Yeah.
But like even that alone of just like talking about like health and those sort of things, like it was just such a weird topic that like I then like it was just like I had to deal with it on my own.
Do you feel like you have like a people pleasing tendency?
Oh yeah,
because
for sure.
of
and yeah.
When have you seen it come up?
Like all the time. I think like I'm always worried about what other people think of me, like the decisions that I make, things that I say, or like I'm always trying to get someone's approval for something, especially because I also feel like my friends also parented me. Like besides my sister, I also kept a lot of things from my sister because she was kind of like my second mom. So it's like, you know, like just like casual, like you're going to keep things from your mom. Like I kept things from my sister. So it's like, it's literally like a double layer there. So it's like everything else that I learned in life came from my friends. And so I feel like, sorry, what was the question?
It was, do you feel you have people pleasing tendencies?
Okay. Yeah. So I think because of that, it's like, I would almost look to them, like my friends, for approvals. Like if I wanted to make a decision on, I guess like at like for like a high school or not a high school, for a college, I would like go to my friends. I'm like, okay, like, do you think this is like a good decision? Like, should I do this? Like, what do you think? And like, it's just because I didn't have that.
Yeah, it
guidance.
sounds like you're looking for parents.
Yeah,
and other
like
people.
I'm looking for like parenting. Yeah, exactly. Or like, and especially in like relationship and like sex and like self-love or like things to do with like just being independent, for example. Like I don't know why I'm a recovering people pleaser now. Like I feel like I'm trying so hard to work on it now where it's like I don't need anyone else's approval for things as long as I approve. If I approve it for my own self, like that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can't think of like an early memory of it because it's been my life.
Yeah.
My entire life. Like if it wasn't one person, it was always an ex, or it was my sister, or like it was my brother or my mother, my dad, you know, like it just kind of trickles down basically.
Yeah. Damn, like that, I don't want to say it because like what I'm going to say, it just, I feel bad saying it because of how it contradicts what you just said.
Yeah.
But because I feel like I'm on the complete opposite end where I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks because my parents love me. And I'm not saying your parents don't love you. It's just that my parents know enough about me and still love that version of me that I'm always like, I'm good. Like, I don't care what anybody has to say because I know that in my parents' eyes, I'm perfect regardless. And they know a lot. They know, you know, the fights I've been in with people. They know the wrongs I've done, but they also know the good I've done. And with all that, they're still very much like pro Erica.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, at least for me, when it comes to boundaries, I feel like I'm really good at them because I always say I'm allergic to control. Like it's a mix of a bunch of things. It's just like, because I've had strict parents or whatever, my whole thing is like, well, my parents are strict and I've reasoned with myself, like they're strict because they love me. Like they've shown that being strict isn't going to flow into my adulthood. It was just like, for as long as we can, shield you, we will.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is like, even then though, like with that control that they had on me back then, I'm just like, listen, I'll deal with it from them because they care about me. But I'm like, I don't want to have to like in my head be like, this man is controlling me because he loves me, and try to like decipher that and go through. I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
I was just like, if my parents think that what I'm doing is good, or if they trust me enough, then I'm good. I cannot have anyone like think that they have a say in anything that I do for fun, anything I do for me. And that's why I feel like I've learned to be really good with boundaries because of having strict parents, because I know that I don't want anyone else having that level of control over me ever again. And it took me a minute to get there because I feel like I had boyfriends that were controlling when I was in high school, and I was okay with it because I was like, well, like your guidelines are kind of the same as my parents.
Right.
But it's like, as you get older, like your parents fall back.
Yeah.
And then you realize like, oh, I don't always have to be under this person's, like my parents' control. So then I was like, wait, I should never have to be under a man's control. And then that's when I started kind of like getting to the point in dating where I'm talking to people and I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna let you know one thing. Like, you're not gonna have a say in anything that's innately me. Like anything that I like, anything that I enjoy, like even like when I had like my YouTube page when I was in high school, like there were guys that didn't like that because you're very like front facing and people see you and people all this stuff. But I'm like, but that's me. Like that's something that I want to do, that's something I like to do. And I can't let you think that you're bargaining with me for, my likes and dislikes and all that stuff. It's like, we're not doing that. And I would never put that control on a guy. Like the way that I see it, like, because of how I grew up, the way that I view dating is, and not even dating, just like solid relationships and stuff with guys, is just like, don't be with someone who you think has the capacity to do something you don't like. Because that way you never have to control them. Yeah. Like, because I know I have controlling tendencies. I've had controlling tendencies with exes. And then it's just exhausting. It's tiring. Like, why do you want to do that? And so I feel like I've gotten to a point because of that where I'm like, just be with someone who you don't have to control. Right. Be with someone who, when they're in their freest, still doesn't hurt you. Yeah. And yeah, I just feel like the way I was raised and stuff taught me that. It went from being controlled with reason to being controlled without reason to being like, no one can control me. But
I think also like a part of that is like, because I was going to say like, one, just like not being exposed to those things and like now being exposed to those things. So going back to the whole like late bloomer thing. But I think also at the same time, it's like about, how did your parents validate you growing up? And it's like, that is a huge part of it too. It's like if you didn't know how to validate your own self growing up, that's a huge effect. Like, and I feel like for me, like being in a household where it's like you're not sharing the love that you have with each other like that. And it was very like, I mean, like my parents' love languages was like cutting me up fruit and handing it to me. That was like their way of saying I love you. But it's like besides that, it's like I never knew how to validate my own self. I never knew how to, like, if I'm struggling or if I'm crying, if I'm going through something, like I didn't know how to comfort my own self. And so then it's like, okay, like I have to look for someone to help me with that. So then it's like going to my friends and being like, I'm going through this, and like what do you think I should do? And like, how should I get over it? Or like, I'm dealing with this boy problem, or like even just like when I first started dating, I'll be like, so what do I say to them? And like, or like one big thing is like, do you guys think he's cute? And it's like, if one friend says no, I'm like, okay, so then I'm not gonna talk to this person. It's like, bitch, talk to whoever the fuck you want to talk to. And it's like not having that sense of like independence growing up, or that sense of like knowing how to validate yourself really just like follows you throughout your entire life. And I think that that's like a huge contributing factor to being a people pleaser, because it's like, and then I think it's also like growing up for me, like reputation was a huge thing. And I don't know if it's like similar in Hispanic households, but it's like in South Asian households, like reputation was so fucking big. Like if auntie from like 4 buildings down saw you do something bad and it went back to my mom, oh, I am getting my ass fucking beat. Like it was bad. And so like, we always had to like be like spick and span, like making sure like, you know, we were squeaky clean. And I think that that also, again, contributes to being a people pleaser, because then it's like, okay, like I have to be perfect, or like I can't make the wrong decision. I can't make the wrong move. I can't say the wrong thing.
Because you're taught you have to please all these other people.
Exactly.
And you're fighting to please your parents by pleasing the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's something, it's very different, I think, in Hispanic cultures, where, because I feel like for you, the reputation is more like respect our family name, respect us, respect who we are as a unit. I feel like, and this is not to drag Hispanics, but like we're just specifically talking about my crazy grandmother. She, interesting woman. She like, so much of her worth was always in like the way that she looked, the way that she presented herself. So it's like she didn't, my mom could refresh me on this, but like after a certain age, she didn't wear jeans. Like everywhere she goes, she wears slacks and she wears like a flowy top or whatever, a cardigan, like, and she never wears sneakers. She hasn't worn sneakers in forever. For as long, I mean, I feel like for as long as I've been alive, she hasn't worn sneakers. So for, you know, at least 25 years, definitely a few more, she hasn't worn sneakers, jeans. Like she's never looked casual. She always like does her bangs or whatever, her red lipstick, her eyeliner, like that's her.
Yeah.
And I remember like as me and my aunt were getting older and stuff, and we go out the house looking different ways and all that, like, you know, it wasn't a thing of like telling us to cover up, because that wasn't it. But if we looked too much like a hoochie, you know, it was just kind of like, you going outside like that?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, all right. But like in her head, she's like formulating the thoughts that people on the block would have of us and stuff. And like but the part where she's crazy is like somebody in the neighborhood or one of her bingo ladies like would die, and she would want all of us to go to the funeral so that people could talk about, oh, how good, you know, her granddaughter and her daughters look. And I'm like, I didn't know this woman. I don't think I really have to go. Like, well, why are we doing this?
The gossip sessions, or like the little like, it was insane.
It's weird. And I'm just like, if anything, I feel like my reputation in the neighborhood is tarnished because she's such a crazy, insane human being. And she's a bitter lady. But yeah, and like, so that's always been a thing. But I've never felt the feeling of like, I have to listen to her or be whatever she wants me to be, because my parents and my dad were not on that. They were like, don't listen to her. Let her be, let her rock. She's just being her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never understood that.
Yeah.
Like wanting to, because the thing is like, I don't know. I don't mean to be that person, but if like all the people you're trying to impress aren't doing any better than you, what's the point?
Like, oh my God, I remember it was a big ass thing in our neighborhood when my sister wanted to go away for college, because they were just like, oh, she's going to go away. She's going to do all these bad things. She did.
And if she does, like.
Right. Because guess what? She's better than all y'all now.
Yeah.
But it's like every fucking auntie on the block was talking so much shit about my sisters, so much shit about my mom, being like, she's such a bad mother. Like, how dare she let her child, like, go away. Did y'all know she got a scholarship, though? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that, like, I think she's VP. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. She's VP of her fucking team now.
Mm-hmm.
What is your bitch ass fucking daughter doing, Miss Auntie? Because you didn't let your child go away for fucking college. And it's just like, yeah, like you're not better than anyone.
Yeah.
So like, why the fuck are you judging the way that someone else parents their kids or where? Like,
It's
obviously,
no
if it's
one's
bad
business.
parenting, it's gonna be obvious if
Yeah.
it's bad parenting. But it's like, yeah, it's no one's fucking.
I feel like that's
business.
just where like the cultural stuff just gets really loud, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a mix of like being traditional, like back in the day that mattered more than it does now,
Right.
and it's just like, listen, everyone's gonna do their own thing. People are changing really fast. The world's changing really fast.
Yeah.
Like, and it was even like weird stuff. Like I remember, I mean, this is like completely like side story, but I remember in kindergarten there was this one girl, first grade, for her birthday, her mother let her get a blonde streak. Everyone, their mother was talking shit.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, how, like, that's crazy. Like, she's so young. That's another thing. Like,
you're gonna go to hell.
this is a weird thing that certain things are taboo when you're a little girl. And like, there's a part of me that 100% understands it. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, am I just as traditional as them? Or
Right.
should I like snap out of it? Like, I don't think a girl should have their hair dyed like any younger than 16. 16
Yeah.
seems like to be like the rebellious age. Like, oh, you want to dye your hair? You want to get streaks?
Right.
Whatever. But I'm like, that's not the kid's choice.
Right.
Like, tell the kid no, you know? Or like,
Right.
even when I've said this before, when it comes to hitting kids, all for it. If
Yeah.
they deserve it, give it to
Yeah.
them. You know, or just like getting ears pierced. Like in
Yeah.
some cultures, I had mine since I was a baby.
Same.
And it's just like for other people, I didn't know that was a big thing until there was like uproar on the internet about it.
But God forbid, oh my God, when I got my second piercing and then like all my other piercings,
Yeah.
I remember having to hide them from my mom.
Oh my
And like
gosh.
when she would see it, she'd be like, "What is that?" And I'm like,
Damn.
"But God, like, Shawty, like
Yeah.
you had my ears pierced when I was a baby. I didn't even have a say in that."
That's
like,
something I'm still on board about, like belly piercings.
Yeah.
Like not being okay until a certain age.
Oh, I agree.
Like
agree.
there are a few. Like
I think that's a controversial take, but I agree.
it is, because like I realized that it's become such like a
It's a very
piercing.
I think it's like also like the association that it has. Like it's associated to like very sexualizing
like
yourself.
yeah, like I don't.
and
I'm gonna say
it makes
some
us
things,
sound like
I feel like a belly button piercing is up there with the tramp stamp. Like I feel like they're like a really solid pairing. Like I feel
Yeah.
like that's peanut butter and jelly. You got a tramp stamp, you got a belly button piercing. But like
they do look hot though.
it's that's what I was gonna say. It's one of those things. It depends the type that you
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
You know, like if it's done poorly, you can tell. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Like it's just
Also,
situational.
Anybody under the I think you need to be a certain age to get a nipple piercing. But like if you're under the age of fucking 18,
You know, my take on nipple piercings, don't get them unless like you know you're gonna look hot. Like
she said, "Y'all bitches are too ugly getting these
it's
fucking
true.
nipple
Like if I don't want to
piercings."
look at your face, what makes you think I want to look at your
I
nipples?
wanna look at your
Like, it's just
Fair, honestly, fair. I feel it.
like if it's not gonna give like you
have
know
to have to look
prime
fair.
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera
Right,
era,
right.
like I don't want to see it.
Right.
Get it on my face.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. But yeah, all that to say, I feel like there are certain things that like I feel like for us when we get older, we're gonna be considered traditional.
Yeah.
And that even younger people are gonna get like nipple piercings and like all these
Yeah.
things. We're gonna be like,
Right.
You're not getting that till at least, you know, you're out my house and all this stuff.
I think
like,
about that with like music, where like I'm listening to some of these songs and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Y'all are listening to this?
Yo, I be listening to like I said, I love Sabrina Carpenter, but she
Yeah.
be saying stuff and I'm like, I went to the Sabrina Carpenter
She's-
pop up and I see fucking like 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. I'm like, and they're with
That's
their
who
mothers.
I think of. I'm like, y'all are listening to Bedchem?
And then at the concert, like, I mean, she says
Right.
it, like her music is not meant for kids, but like these moms are there with their
Yeah.
kids. I'm like, you really don't be a part
But
of
this
your
is how
kids'
people
lives.
felt when like we were listening to like Britney Spears or like when Miley Cyrus.
With the poll at the VMAs.
Yo,
that was a
that
whole
was
It wa-
controversial.
and even then, I didn't even think that was that
I
bad.
didn't even think it was that bad either.
The thing is, I didn't realize it was like a poll until everyone made a scene about it
Right,
being a stripper
yeah.
pole. I was like,
I just thought it was
just a poll.
Yeah, I just thought it was a poll. That's it.
do you ever think about the day you get serious with someone and you have to break it to your parents? Like, listen, man, there's a Puerto Rican guy. You know, like, and you guys might not approve, but here he is.
So I have a tough conversation with every guy I date where you're not going to meet my parents and they're not going to hear about you unless you put a ring on my finger.
Yeah.
And like, that's not even to be like, yeah, you got to put a ring on this. Like, it's literally like, no, like that's what it has to be, because especially if I like date out of my culture or date out of my religion, like my parents will literally be like, okay, like they're very traditional. Again, they had an arranged marriage. So it's like in their heads, it's like if you were to bring a guy to them or like let them know you're seeing someone, it's because you're like, okay, you're going to get married to this person, because they don't understand the concept of dating.
Yeah.
And like it only like was more recently when they finally accepted like love marriages over an arranged marriage. So like you can imagine like me being like 10 years old and being like, fuck, like I'm going to have an arranged marriage at like fucking somewhere in my 20s. And then like teaching my parents of like, no, people in this generation and especially like not in Bangladesh get married to people out of true, genuine love. And like, they were like, okay, like that makes sense. Like you want to get married to your best friend like that. Of course that makes sense. But yeah, like I tell like any guy that I date, like you can't expect me to tell my parents about you, because it's just not going to happen unless like you do want to marry me. And I think like it's a very daunting thing for them, because it's just like, damn, like
you have to think about marriage with every person that you speak to. Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I also look at it as like a blessing and a curse, because it's like you don't got to worry about meeting my parents, but like, yeah, you got to worry about meeting them like maybe like couple 5 years down the line. If you put
and it's also the thing of like when he meets them, that alone is like solidifying the commitment to you.
Exactly. And it's funny because, well, it's not funny, it was a traumatic experience, but my sister was in a secret relationship for 10 years.
10 years?
10, yeah. Fuck. Which is like insane. But it's like, for me, I'm like, that's probably what like my parents are going to meet my boyfriend at like after 10 years probably too. But it's like that, because that's such a normal thing of like what I went through. My sister went away to college, you know, since the aunties wanted to talk shit about my sister doing bad things. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. She met a man that now she's married to. But she met him in college and they started dating. And also Marcus really wanted me to say this, where my sister friend zoned him. And he said he was very resilient and was very determined and stuck it through because he really loved my sister. So
I love that he wants this on the record.
Yeah, my sister was like, it was never about you. Like, shut up. And I remember like having a really like tough conversation too. I'm like jumping around with this story, but like I remember having a tough conversation, and like this was the first time my sister really ever shared this specific thing with me too, where she was like, I tried to not love him for the sake of pleasing our parents. Aww. And it's like obvious. And like I remember like taking that with me and being like, that being the thing of like, because when we told our parents, well, my sister told my parents, I remember like my door was locked, but I was overhearing the conversation of the TV was off, my sister sitting my mom down on the couch. I remember my mom not saying a word. And my sister telling my mom, like, there's this guy, like, we went to college together. I really like him. Like, she didn't say, like, we were dating for 10 years or anything. But, like, she was just, like, you know, like, kind of, like, making it seem like I just met him. And was like, I really like him. And, like, I want to get married with him. Because that's how we had to, like frame it to my parents. And my mom didn't say anything. She just, like, up and, like, walked away. And then I remember from that day, my mom and my dad didn't talk to us for like a solid 3-4 months. Cause like for them, it just like, they felt like they failed as parents.
What?
And it's like, which is like not true at all. They're amazing
They
parents.
didn't talk to either of you?
They didn't talk to either of us.
Why?
Because I also think like my mom, like that was her moment to like also be like, well, yeah, Nisha's also a fucking badass child. Like I remember like when we were having arguments at that time, like she would just kind of like bring me up like, and I don't know what Nisha be doing. And I'm like, all right, girl, please.
Yeah.
You got a lot that's coming at you. But they didn't talk to us, for like 3-4 months. And then I remember it was like right before my parents were going to go to Bangladesh for a month, and they were thinking about my grandmother. I only have one living grandparent, and that's my grandma on my mom's side. And my mom was like reflecting about like her and like being like, well, like I want her to be able to like see one of her eldest grandchild get married. And like my daughter has come to me to tell me like she has this guy that like, yes, I don't approve of, and like he's not Muslim, he's not even Bengali, but like my daughter like clearly is really happy and really loves him and like really wants him to be around. And so then they like finally accepted. They were like, we're going to accept this. We're not thrilled, but we're going to accept it. And I remember like also during that time, just like having like all those conversations with my mom of like kind of like fighting for my sister and my brother-in-law's love, like being like, well, like kind of like using religion for them. Like, well, why would God put them together? Like, you know, like she tried so hard not to love him, but like, this is how like God wanted them to be together. Like you need to listen. Like there's no other way. Like you can't force them apart. And I remember like at the time, like seeing just like also like how broken my sister was, because it was like for her, like she was like, if it's not him, it's gonna be nobody.
Yeah.
Like I don't want anybody.
You just spent the last 10 years with this guy.
Like building a life together, like practically saw
like
me grow
solid
up.
enough to come to your mother. Like
yeah, exactly. And especially when it's like you're seeing like all your other friends like get married and like they're planning their life and like wanting to buy houses and all this, and then it's like, well, my parents
you're still
don't even
sneaking around.
fucking
Yeah.
And so I feel like and it's funny because a lot of people are like, well, yeah, like your sister probably like paved the way for you, right, Nisha? No, literally when my sister was proposed to in front of my parents, because my sister had like the classic proposal, and then after the proposal, actually I remember like when my brother-in-law proposed to my sister, and my sister came up to hug me, the first thing that she said was like, I don't know what I'm going to tell mom and dad. Because this was before like she had even ever told, or no, I think this was during the time when she had told my parents about him. And so my sister, I remember like just like being extra scared of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Like our parents don't already like him. If I tell them that I'm proposed to already, what the fuck do I do? And now they're like obsessed with him. They're like in love with him now. Yeah.
That's good.
But I remember when they like first like got proposed to in front of my parents, like my mom was like, yeah, like Nisha, like you're going to get married to a Bengali Muslim man, right? And I'm like, ha.
So is that what it is? There's just hope that one.
They're just going to hope.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they know that that's not going to happen. Or like, I'm not like ruling it out. Obviously there's a possibility, but it's like, I will never make that promise to them of like, yeah, I'm going to get married to someone in this specific religion and culture because you say so. So I think like they're just going to hold on to that hope, but I know it's like very much dwindling for sure, especially seeing like my sister, and like they know like I like my sister's my role model, like I kind of model after her, like, and so yeah, it's
that sucks that like they couldn't even let you live with hope that they'd be fine with it. They were like, no, but you'll do the thing, right?
Yeah. They're like, they're putting it on me. And I'm like, sure. Yeah. So yeah, like they don't know about my dating life at all. And even though my sister told my parents and like kind of like broke this like generational thing, it's like it didn't open up that many doors for me of like, okay,
they didn't just become open-minded.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they didn't just become open-minded. It's like still like I'm gonna probably have to go through the same exact motions as my sister, like telling my parents they're probably not gonna talk to me for a few months too, and then they're gonna finally like.
But that part is hard, like the not talking to you, because it's like
and living in the same house. They're
already older, and it's just like you wouldn't want anything to happen during the time that you guys aren't speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was I remember like my mom, like she would go for really, really long walks because of that. Like she was just like struggling so hard with the concept of like, again, like I think they were just like beating themselves up for feeling like they were bad parents.
Yeah.
Like that they failed to raise good children,
Presentable,
presentable children and all of that. And like, I remember my mom like just like sitting in the park for hours out of a day because she was just like going, like she was just dealing with a lot in her head and like going through like all of the thoughts that she was having, and again like beating herself up about everything. And it's like it was hard because then it was like also like my dad like being worried because my dad would never know where she was at. And I was like, all right, I'm fucking scared for what my parents. I made sure to like have the Find My iPhones on their phones after that. But then it was also like seeing like my sister. Like my sister has always been like super, super strong. Like she took on a lot when she first went into college. So like at 18, like she was paying rent for us. And she raised me. Like she took care of me a lot growing up. That like seeing her at a state of like true defeat was like, it was so foreign, but it was also so painful for me, where it was just like, I remember being so angry with the world too, of like, why the fuck, like why didn't we out of all people like grow up this way? And it's like not a dig at my parents. It's just more of like, I wish we grew up in a more open-minded space. Like I wish like religion didn't matter and culture didn't matter and all of those things, because it was just like. And I remember like she had moved out, but then moved back in because the next step was wanting to move in with her boyfriend or her husband. And so I remember we were sharing a room, and like at night, like just like hearing her cry or whatever. And it was just like, it was so hurtful. And like the only thing I could do was like talk to my mom and like try to reason with her of like, like you need to see how happy she is with him. And like the more like he came around to the house and like would see just how like happy and lively my sister would be around him, like it solidified it for them. And like I remember like even I think it was like I don't know if it was when they got eloped, because they wanted to make sure they got eloped before they even like had like a full-on marriage, because it was like a year after my dad had his stroke as well. So it's kind of like we were all scared too of like what was going to happen with our dad, which was also like a huge reason why they wanted to like let my parents know about like the marriage and like all of that. Like they wanted to speed it up a little bit. But I remember, I think it was like at the elopement or sometime afterwards where my dad was like, I actually genuinely like really, really like him. And like, I can see like he takes care of you know, I'm not going to say her nickname, but at Naz, like he was just like, I can see like he's like taking over my job. Yeah, basically. Aww. And I remember just being like, oh my God, like this is insane. Like I would have never thought my parents would be able to come to that. And it's like, it's also like, because I remember I was talking to my other friends who kind of went through something similar because they were also South Asian. And like they had way more stricter parents than we did. And so I remember like feeling like so privileged too to like have parents that like at the end of the day still loved us fucking down. That like this, even though me and my sister were scared shitless of it breaking us, that it didn't. And I also remember my sister waited until I graduated college to even say something, because she was afraid that like if she said something, let's say while I was still in the middle of my studies, that like my parents are gonna like not talk to her. They're gonna force me to not talk to her. And then it's like, again, she was taking care of the household. She was taking care of the finances. She was literally the man of the house and the woman of the house. That like, God forbid if like my parents like basically disowned her while I was in the middle of college, like I would be fucked. Yeah. And like, I think that's also like, I have huge respect for older siblings because of that. Cause it's like, that's a huge amount of selflessness that like is so insane. Like you not only waited 10 years, but you waited, you know, on top of that, an extra few years to make sure I was in a good place. That if something happened,
for you to get married, like
for you to get married to a man that you love, genuinely love.
Yeah. Damn.
So all the men watching that want to date me, you need to live up to Marcus.
Damn. That whole story was crazy. I knew that was a big story that was going to come up, but I'm like, damn. Well, I mean, I'm glad at least that like you know, you still have your parents'
Yeah.
love. Because that's the biggest thing. Because there's so many places where it's like, you get kicked out, we don't know you anymore, and that's it. It's just like, see ya, never want to talk to you again. So like, what would you say to your younger self? Like the younger version of you that's like freaking out or just like, oh my God, like it's like exactly what you said. Like, why were we chosen to have this kind of life? Like now that, you know, all that has passed, and even though you're still kind of dealing with them, what would you tell her?
I think, well, in general, there's a quote that I live by. And it's not even like some like crazy quote either. It's literally just genuinely what I like to tell myself or any of my friends that like are struggling is it's going to be okay. At the end of the day, regardless of whatever the fuck happens to you, you're always able to get through it. So you know you're gonna be okay. So that I just like I feel like I would tell my younger self like, this is a shitty situation and it's gonna be a shitty situation and there's gonna be plenty of other shitty situations that you go through, whether it's related to this or something else. But at the end of the day, it's going to be okay. Because you got over it, you got over XYZ already. What makes you think that you can't get over fucking 1, 2, 3? Like,
yeah, I mean, I had that thought the other day about something because I was like stressed about whatever. And I like the way I rationalized, I was like, is it going to kill me? Am I going to die?
Yeah.
Like if the worst were to happen, would I die? And I'm like, no, like at least the worst in my ranking of worries. And I was just like, no, like something's got to give. And like for me, my version is like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing. And that's been my thing for as long as I can remember. It's just like, anytime anybody doubts me or if they're like, oh, do you think you can do this? Do you think you can do that? And I'm like, I don't know, but I have no choice but to figure it out. Like the only way, what is it? The only way over it is through it. Yeah. So
I think another thing too, I would tell myself, and I feel like I tell myself this more as an adult, is it's your life. No one's living this life for you. Your parents aren't living this life for you, no matter how much they think that they are. It's not. Like they've already been through their life. And it might have not been the way that they wanted it to be, but that doesn't mean that shouldn't dictate what your life looks like and what your life should be. Yeah. Like, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Kiss whoever the fuck you want to kiss and like be with whoever you want to be. Like, cry about bullshit that you want to, like, it's also, we only have one fucking life. And so it's like, why don't waste it around like, and I think that's probably like a huge thing that when it comes to me and like having that conversation with my parents about like wanting to marry a man that's possibly out of like a different culture, religion, like it's not, actually no, scratch that. I remember my parents saying that of like when they finally accepted Marcus, they were like, it's your life. Like why should we tell you who to marry when it's your life? Like if you're saying that you love this man, that's not our boyfriend as our husband to be loving. Like, yes, we'll love him as a son because you're our daughter. And like, that's what as parents we signed up for is to love you unconditionally.
That was there, we'll figure it out.
Right.
It's like as much as they wanted to fight it, it's like, that's their daughter and that's the man she loves. Exactly. And you're not going to stop them. Exactly. But it's like, if they went into parenting with that mindset, a lot of stuff would have been a lot simpler.
But you don't know what you don't know. And it's like, like kind of like what we were saying with us, it's like we didn't have those experiences to know, and like they'd never had those experiences to know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good note to end on. Yeah. So thank you for coming on and sharing all your experiences.
Of course.
I've been dying for this kind of vulnerability on the pod for a while. Yeah. I have nothing else to add.
And on that note.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe. Give me 5 stars if the platform you're listening on allows you to do so. Thank you for spending time with us. I think this one after editing is going to be a long one. So I appreciate you guys. And I love you. And I will see you guys next week. Bye. Bye.